Hi Rachel.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well, and first of all I wanted to say that the Peace Walk is awesome. We stand in solidarity with you guys. We were aware of your march, and I'm so happy that you guys are doing that very positive message and that positive engagement with the community.
Thank you very much.
Slut Walk Vancouver is, we try and have a similarly positive tone. We look at having a positive definition of consent, where it's not just the absence of someone saying no, but it's somebody actively saying yes. So you can't hold somebody's clothing or hold their behavior or hold their history, whatever it is that makes you judge someone. You can't assume that that's consent. Consent is only when it comes from someone and it's there and it's full and it's in the genuineness of who they are. And so we tried to get together today and just have a very positive march where people could come out and could express themselves. You can see here we had to have a safe space so that people would be able to have somewhere where they could go and be quiet and talk to some support workers. If any issues, any triggers came up, because really what we're getting at here is an end to victim blaming, an end to blaming people who have been victims of assault, victims of rape, victims of violence, and recognizing that it's the people who create that violence who are accountable, not the victims.
That's right.
So that was what we were doing here today. The sign here is for our safe space, our backup and support there.
SWV means?
SWV is Slut Walk Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Okay. By any chance? Okay. By any chance, do you have an office?
No, this is a totally decentralized movement. So it started off with just a small group of women. Organizing it in Toronto, and it's just taken off and different groups have done it. So we do have a website, slutwalkvancouver.com, and we do have an email, slutwalkvancouver@gmail.com. We're going to be organizing this again next year, and if you want to get involved,
You're from Toronto?
I'm not sure if I'm Toronto, I'm Vancouver. Each city is doing their own unique movement and uprisings because each place has their own local issues in relation to this.
Well, one of the things that I'm doing is like I'm interviewing organizations like yourself, and I want to offer free airtime on my internet.
I like these.
This is what I'm all about right now.
Yeah.
And I had this idea about 6 weeks ago, and I finally got it back all together.
And Chris, can I carry that yellow bag
And
full
you,
of
this
cardboard
is-
stuff?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. Is there anything else you would like to talk about? Like, how long did this start and who started all this?
This started last year in response to a Toronto police officer who had the nerve to say to a group of college students when he was trying to talk about them about how to be safe on the street and how to not get assaulted, he said, if you don't want to get raped, don't dress like a slut. And so we just think that that's not. You can't tell someone that they deserve to get raped because they dress a certain way. And this is very relevant here in Vancouver, especially. The missing women. Why do you think that it took so long to get the voices of these women heard? Because people think that if you're a victim, if you're that, and you're dressed a certain way, if you're a sex worker, if you're involved in something, if you look a certain way, if you act a certain way, that you deserve to be assaulted, that you deserve to be ignored, you deserve to be pushed to the margins, and we think that's unacceptable here.
Of course, I believe so too.
I've got to run, we're just packing up
I have
here.
one more question
Yes,
for you.
go ahead.
Do you feel that you're talking about safe space,
Yeah.
so people need a place.
Yeah.
In other words, the lack of housing, cheap, affordable, clean, not infested with bugs or mice housing, isn't that a large part of what's causing these problems? Because people who live with other people cannot move out on their own to not be with the people that are causing them the trouble. Would you agree
It's true.
with this?
There's issues there of dependence, of having freedom of your life. Like I have my own interest in looking at youth who are involved in the sex industry and how that works for them when they're not having their needs looked after, when they're not having their things cared for, and they're having to go and do things. But that's with what we're doing right now, we are really focusing just on that, like making accountability go with the people who are to blame who do the assaulting. But I think that it's really important to recognize that there's many facets to the culture that comes out of, including the housing, including the system we live in, where there's patriarchy, where capitalism, where groups are oppressed. It's not fair.
Yeah, well, people can't move out if they can't.
Exactly.
If they want to escape the environment they're in, they have to move out. And if they cannot move out,
You don't have
they're
options.
stranded, locked in with the other person or two people or three people.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. You're busy.
Thank you. I'm going to go back. My email is, you can email slutwalkvancouver@gmail.com actually. Slutwalkvancouver, SLUTWALK, Vancouver, @gmail.com.
Okay, what's your name?
Rachel Malik.
So I sent this email to you.
Yeah, it will be to me, but it will go to our whole organizing group.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for you guys.
Okay, my name is David Malmo Levine. Last name spelled MALMO-LEVINE.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh yes, I help to run the Herb Museum. We're online at herbmuseum.ca. and we're located at 303 West Hastings, second floor of the BC Marijuana Party.
And also, you are here in contact with Mark Emery.
Well, yes, Mark Emery's wife, Jody Emery, is my landlord.
What's going on with Mark these days?
Well, he's halfway through his sentence, and he's still in a prison in Yazoo City, in Mississippi, and it's unjust that he has no victims. He's the only victim in his crime.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's been what, halfway through his sentence now?
Yeah, 5 years, which ends up being 4 years and 2 months with good behavior for selling seeds. Not even selling pot, just selling pot seeds. It's like selling grape seeds during wine prohibition, but nobody got, punished for that.
Yes. Well, I know. That's a pretty straight story when I heard about this too. And who was behind this investigation? And who was involved in this court trial?
I think what happened was the drug czar, the U.S. drug czar, responsible for articulating drug policy, came to Vancouver, and Mark bought a table, and we heckled the drug czar. 2002.
At a convention.
Yeah, and then so they opened up an investigation on Mark from there, and it was from Washington. The U.S. government, federal government, urged the Canadian government to extradite him, to hand him over. So it started with the U.S.
Well, I can think of a lot of people that should be extradited, besides him, that was that kind of, I don't know what to say about that story. It was really unjust. It was unjust.
The last time I remember harmless people being extradited to spend many years in jail for victimless crime was during the Holocaust, right? Jews were extradited all over to Poland and Nazi Germany for the same thing, scapegoating. It's the same crimes.
Is there an event that you guys are organizing soon?
Well, there is, if you go talk to the people in the blue tent, they're organizing a citizens initiative called Sensible BC. And Sensible BC is going to be a way British Columbia can vote on a form of decriminalization without punishment. So that's the next big project. And every year there's 3 and sometimes 4 events. There's April 20th, that's 420.
Okay.
There's the first Saturday in May, that's a global marijuana march.
Okay.
There's July 1st, there's Cannabis Day. And every 5 years, there's the Grasstown Police Riot anniversary. So it's on the 1 or the 6. So 1971, 1996, 2001, 2006.
Do you have any website address that you would like to mention on the camera? Website address?
Oh, yeah, there's 3. Herbmuseum.ca, and my magazine that I create is called potshot.ca, and then cannabisculture.com is Mark Emery's website. So cannabisculture.com.
How often do you publish?
It's an odd magazine. It comes out very sporadically. The last time,
on a whim?
No, when the money's there. The last time was 2006, but I'm working on issue number 20, and issues 1 to 19 are all online for free.
PDF?
Yeah, or scanned in. So.
How often do you produce shows? You were mentioning on your...
Daily. Pot TV produces shows daily. My show's called High Society. I haven't produced one in a while because I've been focusing on building the museum up. But I guest star in a lot of other shows that are on Pot TV, so I come in and make guest appearances.
Right on. Well, thank you very much for your time. Anything else you'd like to ask?
Thank you. And what's your website's name?
I'll tell you all about that in a second.
Okay.
I'll give you the information right now.
Okay.
I'll be in touch soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, Dana Larson. Someone was telling me you were up to something very interesting.
Yeah, well, it's been a great deep day here today, and I do a lot of different things. I direct the Vancouver Cannabis Dispensary Society. I've been involved with the NDP for a long time, and today I'm promoting a campaign called Sensible BC. And Sensible BC is an effort to change the laws at a provincial level to instruct the police to take no action when it comes to simple possession, much like we see here today already, but to spread this across British Columbia so that the possession of marijuana will be something the police will ignore. And this is the first step, not the final step, but as a province, something we can do as a province. So we have a website at sensiblebc.ca, and to make this work, we want to have a referendum in British Columbia. And we have a referendum system in our province. It's the only province in Canada where you can force a referendum if you get enough signatures together over time to get on the ballot. And so we've been collecting signatures here today. We need like 400,000 or so signatures across the province. And if we get enough signatures, then in September 2014 we'll have a vote in British Columbia. And if we win that vote, which I think we would, then the possession of marijuana would no longer be a police, something the police would focus on in British Columbia. And we could also begin the process to change the laws at a federal level.
Be a conviction for a couple of grand.
If it goes well, the police shouldn't even bother you if you're using marijuana, as long as that's all it is. Simple possession should no longer be a police matter in British Columbia. If you're trafficking or anything else, then those laws would still apply. But the possession law would be struck down. And then Sensible BC also calls upon the federal government to take marijuana out of the CDSA so that British Columbia, as a province, can tax and regulate it in a similar way to how we do alcohol and tobacco. Because those things are all provincial jurisdiction. Once we take it out of the federal realm and don't criminalize it anymore, it's really up to the provinces to decide age limits and tax rates and safety, and all that kind of stuff goes to the provinces.
Is there any events coming up across Canada?
Well, this is a British Columbia specific campaign. We're going to be launching it formally in September. This is sort of an advance effort we're doing right now. But in September coming up, we're going to launch the campaign. We'll do it in Vancouver. We'll have a press conference. We've got different endorsers coming on board. And then we're going to spend about a year working on this after that. For about a year, collecting signatures and getting everybody together. And so sensiblebc.ca is where to go if you're watching this on the internet. Visit our website, sign up, register to support our group, and we need people to volunteer all across the province, and we can really make a big change here in British Columbia.
Well, you know, one of the reasons I started an internet station, I realized there's a lot of people that are lacking airtime. And I know that you guys have your own station going on.
Yeah, Pod TV, but there's
always good to connect to other stations.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that we'll definitely we'd like to have an interview with you soon, maybe.
Yeah, sure. You can contact me through Sensible BC, or I can write down my phone number if you like.
Would be great. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Would you give us could you give us an approximation of how many people have signed your petition to this day?
Well, sure. We just started today. We haven't been gathering signatures very long. So this was really our first day. We're not really starting until September, but I want to take advantage of being here today. So we just got a few hundred, probably several hundred today. I haven't counted them up yet, but I'd say like several hundred. So we did pretty good, but we need a lot more. We need like 400,000. They've got to be spread out all across BC.
Do you have a PDF file on your website that people can print out so that they can start their own sign-ups and mail them to you?
We do, yeah. People can also sign up on the website as well. But we do have, you can download the files, you can get them to your friends, get them to sign it. You can either go online and type the information in yourself, or you can mail it to us and we'll enter it into our database.
So how is that legal? They sign a piece of paper at their house and mail it to you in an envelope?
Yeah, that's right. This is what we're actually doing is the actual signature collection period for the formal referendum issue will be next year in September, August, September, October next year. What we're actually signing now what we're getting now is signatures to register so that when the official signature collection time comes next year, we've already got everyone registered, we can just go and get them to sign the official form. So right now what we're doing is it's advanced registration for the next year, because we simply don't have the manpower to get 400,000 signatures in 3 months without a lot of advanced work. They're definitely out there. People are out there who will sign it. So for the next year, we're going to find those people, get them to sign in advance, and then when the time comes in August, September, October 2013, we can just call them up or go to their house and go, hey, you said you would sign this. Here's the official one. Sign this one now. That's how the plan works. Hey, thank you very much.
Well, more people will hear about it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you can promote it sounds great. Give me a call or anything, and I'll be happy to talk to you more. Thanks.
Okay, wait, okay.
Okay, hi. Would you like to introduce yourself and tell me why you're so angry?
My name is Ellis Worthington, and I'm very angry. I'm so angry. I made a sign, and I have a petition about election fraud. We need an independent investigation into the election fraud. the robocall scandal so we can stop Stephen Harper from destroying our democracy. I'm very angry about things like the tuition too expensive. There's no job for students. Harper the dictator. I'm angry about the pipeline. I'm angry that you can't protest legally in Quebec. I'm angry that Canada's on the United Nations Human Rights Watch list because it's illegal to protest in Quebec. I'm angry that the government won't listen to the people. I'm angry that Harper won't resign because if he does, he'll be prosecuted for war crimes. I'm angry that Harper is selling Canada to the corporation. Corporations control the government. When the economy has problems, the people pay for it. The corporations don't. The government's privatizing corporate profit and socializing corporate losses. The corporations to pay for their own mistakes, not the people. And Stephen Harper making us pay for the corporation's mistakes. He's going to put that pipeline through and poison BC and make the oil company very rich. The Enbridge has had 804 oil spills between 1999 and 2010. Now they want to build a pipeline in an earthquake zone and poison us all. What if a tanker crash in Stanley Park?
Okay, that one. Is there anything else you'd like to say? You belong to an organization?
What?
You belong to an organization?
No, I'm doing that for myself. The petition is from the fightfordemocracy.com. I'm just gonna mail it to them, and I'm angry. I'm doing that because I'm angry about a hell of a lot of things.
Okay.
I'm also angry that people won't. Not enough people are standing up and doing something about it.
Well, that's the problem, a lot of people want to do that, but they don't really know where to start,
Okay, we need to educate, agitate, organize. We need to educate yourself and other people. We need to raise hell and talk and we need to make people angry about things.
Social dissidence is a university course. I've always thought about it.
We need to organize yourself into a group,
organize rebellion.
maintain, make the action,
I mean, sure, the
take
universities
action,
probably look
to make
down
things
upon that.
happen.
So, and the government would look down upon that.
Reforming. We need to. There's a lot of things you need to do. You need to vote. You need to occupy the voting booth. You need to occupy your member of parliament office. You schedule an appointment with the MP. They're legally required to meet their constituents. Film it. Put it on YouTube. You need to occupy a political party. Join a political party. Demand change. If you don't like the policy or the leader, demand some change. If you occupy the conversation, talk to people about the things that are important to you. Talk to your friend, family, co-worker, and the people you vote for. Occupy the system. Occupy the university.
Can you talk about this?
Yes.
Show it to
This is the petition about election fraud. We need an independent investigation into the election fraud, the robocall scandal. We need we need this because Election Canada won't do. Election Canada's investigating, but they can't fix the problem. The RCMP is investigating, but they're corrupt. They hope the Conservatives win in 2006 by announcing an investigation of a key Liberal minister a week before the election.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
And I'm glad that we had a chance to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm glad you did too.
So, do you have an email address or a website?
I don't have a website personally, but if you want to learn more about the robocall scandal, you can go to thefightfordemocracy.com, or you can check out QuebecProtest.com to get the truth about the Maple Spring in Quebec, because the Anglo-Canadian media is not reporting it. So you can read French translation, you can read translation of the French Canadian media and get the truth.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Happy Cannabis Day and Canada Day.
Hi, Lina Cortez.
Hi.
Well, I was walking by and I noticed this pamphlet that says Positive Living Society.
Yes.
Demonstrate this?
So this is a pamphlet from an organization in BC that supports people that are living with HIV. And today we are doing HIV testing. Yeah, I'm a nurse with Vancouver Coastal Health.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you take all doing some volunteer work to help the local people to give them free examination.
Oh, what we're doing today is we're doing free HIV testing, yes. It's confidential, and it's using a rapid HIV test. We can know the result in 60 seconds.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Well,
Good that you want to know.
yeah, that's true. It's good to know, though, your status, yeah. And these days there's medications for HIV that actually prolong life and reduce transmission. So it's not as scary as it used to be. Yeah.
But you know, this is 2 second. An organization invent this machinery that tests. Happy Canada Day.
Happy Canada Day to you.
Hi, this is Sally from the Suzuki Elders. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization?
The Suzuki Elders is a relatively new organization in terms of my knowledge about it. It's been around for a while, but I just became aware of it just recently when I was asking the David Suzuki Foundation what I could do to help it since I have a little more time. Could I lick stamps and envelopes or whatever? And someone suggested at the Suzuki Foundation that what I could do as an elder in our society would be to join the Suzuki Elders and see what we could all put together with our life experience to come up with to do more about educating young people and people of our own years about what they could do to help our environment, to have a lighter footprint as far as the carbon thing is concerned, and see whatever else what we should be writing to our ministers and members of parliament and taking on booths like this today on Canada Day to see if we could get more members and more people interested in the David Suzuki Society itself.
Do you have other events coming up and describe the board event?
Actually, this is last year's events, but we have an event coming up at I think it's in Abbotsford in August at the trade show where there's going to be another booth, and they do this every year to, again, promote the Suzuki Elders and also promote the David Suzuki Foundation so that more people can be aware of what David Suzuki's foundation is doing for the environment and how we can all help the David Suzuki Foundation and individually to make our best imprint to positive for the environment as opposed to negative. Many of us were ignorant in the past, but now we can't plead ignorance anymore. We must really try to do the things that people suggest that we do, like recycling, like being idle-free in our automobiles, trying to be kinder to the earth in every way that we can and protect the earth and the air that we are part of.
Is there a big membership with the elders?
We're a relatively small membership at the moment, which is another reason I have the booth, to try to get more people interested in what we are about. And we've gotten a few people to sign up today, this wonderful, beautiful day, Canada Day. We are probably between 50 and 60 members officially who are actively involved in various different activities. So we're a relatively small group. We hope to be larger so that we will have a greater impact.
Is there who thought of Suzuki Elders? Is it?
I think it was actually David Suzuki himself
I was wondering.
originally.
Okay, that's good.
Yes,
That's good.
it was a concept, I believe, that came to him with all of his association with the First Nations people and their elders, and how very often there was a great deal of wisdom held in the elders of any society. And he suggested that perhaps in our non-First Nation society that there might be an equal amount of wisdom in all of the people that are over 55.
There you go. Well, you don't look 55.
Well, thank you. But I can remember you in my will for this. This is wonderful. You're very sweet and you're very politically correct.
Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, I'd like
Thank
to
you
ask
so
a
very much.
question. I'd like to ask a question. You have a DVD player set up there.
Yes, we do.
Have you, rather than Dr. David Suzuki doing so, have you produced some DVDs?
No, I haven't.
Your-
But what actually I've been playing is The Force of Nature of Dr. David Suzuki, and it's just off at the moment. But I've been looping The Force of Nature all day long, which is a wonderful film that he had produced just last year,
Oh,
a
that's
year and a half ago.
That's an independent film of the nature of things. It's not part
It's an
of it.
independent film. It's not part of the nature of things. It's
Uh-huh.
actually a film about his life story, and it's a wonderful film, and I can
Oh.
recommend that to anybody.
And was it shown in theaters, perhaps?
It
like
was
at the
shown in theaters. It had a
International film
limited run.
festivals, like Toronto Film Festival.
I don't know if it went to the Toronto Film Festival. It certainly should have. It was certainly shown in some limited
Uh-huh.
film, and you can still buy some editions at some of I think what is it, London Drugs. You can sometimes buy an edition at London.
Oh,
Drugs.
London Drugs is allowing people to come and help the organization by part of the monies go to the donation, to proceeds to the foundation, right?
I don't know
Yeah.
about The Force of Nature, whether that's actually happening. I know that some of the books that he writes, like this one in particular,
Could you
this
hold
is
that
a
up?
book
Could you hold
that
that up?
goes. This is a book where it's part of the proceeds of this book goes towards the foundation, this David Suzuki Foundation. He has other books that he has which.
I noticed it says updated and expanded, so it's more recent.
It's,
Is it
the
very
updated and expanded version is recent.
Yeah.
The book has been around since a few years ago, actually.
Wow.
It was first
Okay.
written.
Okay.
So it's a wonderful book. I have it out here for people to.
What's the exact title?
It's The Sacred Balance. It's a wonderful
So the audience knows.
Yes, right, exactly. Thank you very much. And so, right. Okay.
Hello, welcome to ThrivingLive1.tv. We are at the Sailors Sea Festival in North Vancouver, and today we have Dieter. Would you like to explain what's going on with this sign you have?
I made this sign because Harper is destroying our country. He seemed to be so in depth with corporations that he is not fair to what we have destroyed, and is destroying our mission to be having peace.
Also,
peacemaker in the
yes.
world.
That's right. Do you say something about a world being greener, a greener world?
Well, that's right. Instead of exploiting tar sands, which is by far the worst oil that we have, we should develop an industry that depends on wind power and or solar power. We should do with less rather than send everybody on huge trips that burn all the fuel that we have. We should use our oil much more wisely and
I agree.
Learn to live with less.
Yes, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And is there an organization that you belong to by any chance?
I don't belong to any organization except that I support the Council of Canadian.
Okay.
And my political affiliation is Green Party, but that is not really what the sign is all about. The sign is about Harper changing things, and he's so adamant to help the poor corporations that he needs to change the laws that they can operate in this country at their will, and any law that's in their way, Harper intends to crash them.
Right. Well, you know, that's very interesting. Is there anything else you would like to say on your behalf and the way you feel about everything? Is there anything else you would like to mention as this interview comes to a close?
Well, I'd like to see somebody that cares about the people in this nation rather than just about multinational corporations. Multinationals are only here to exploit, get our resources, and leave us with the leftovers. We're here to stay, to have our raise our children and grandchildren, and we should have a home as well living in.
Of course,
We don't like them.
definitely agree with that, for sure. It was thank you very much for talking to us.
You're so welcome, and I hope we meet again.
And you see this interview September 5th on that website.
I'm certainly going to do it if I get stuck on the phone.
Okay, that sounds good. My phone number is there.
Do you have a different comment on the back of your sign? Is that different? Ah, okay. And there's going to be a provincial election next March or April. Do you recommend a party?
Well, I think the next election, the Liberals self-destroyed themselves. They don't need any help to disappear. And I hope that the NDP is up to the challenge to take their place. Basically, I would like to see a party that's even greener than the NDP, but I'm realistic. I think that we Greens have enough support to form a government, and that will be something hopefully in the future.
Well, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
And next we have Lei, who's going to come and talk to us. Hi, Lei.
Hello.
Just come over here, please. And can you bring your sign a little lower? And have a look at your sign over here.
This is one side.
Okay, we're going to bring a little bit over to the camera angle right here. Can you see the sign?
Yep.
Okay. And Lei, can you talk to us about your sign?
I had this sign made. This picture is one that my husband took when he was kayaking off the west coast of Vancouver Island. Supernatural BC is well known to people in BC. It's part of the government's tourism campaign, Supernatural BC, everyone come. Well, one of the reasons that I'm here today is because if we don't put a stop to the proposed pipelines and the tankers going through our harbor, there may not be that many reasons on a practical level that people are going to come, certainly to Vancouver. A large oil spill in this harbor. When I was busing here today, I passed several public parks and beaches, and I saw hundreds of people out enjoying the waterfront. I took a wrong turn looking for this park and ended up walking past some obviously very high, pricey condominiums looking out on the water.
Let's turn the sign over. Let's have a look at the sign.
Yeah.
Very careful. Got the sign? You said you were concerned about something.
I'm concerned about many things, but to bring it down to why I'm here today, the power and the wealth of the oil companies threatens Earth's survival. I mean, I'm talking about Vancouver Harbor and immediate concerns, but my concern goes way larger than that. And the federal government seems only eager to support them. Our provincial premier, our current premier, has recently started talking about we need to be paid for the risk. I haven't heard her saying we're not going to go ahead with it. There are so many environmental threats to BC directly related to the tar sands projects. The coast, the watershed, this huge natural resources. It's not only the beauty, it's our water, it's the future of our children and our grandchildren. And these companies with absolutely appalling, in quotes, safety records are trying to assure us that they can go ahead and do this and nothing bad will happen. Anyone who's heard about the 100, I don't know how high those waves are in Hecate Strait, but they're very, very large. And furthermore, I recently heard that one of the things Enbridge had done was created a map showing the route of the pipe that the tankers would take, and they left out several thousand acres of islands. And when they were challenged, there's a court challenge going on now by a person in BC. I don't know her name, but she's I can't remember her occupation, but anyway, she's made a court challenge because she's saying this is not true. You're showing a straight line, and you've left out all of these islands
that they meander through.
Yeah. And the statement back from Enbridge was something to the point that this was meant for illustrative purposes only. It wasn't meant to show reality.
And
so I thought, what does that mean? Illustrate what?
Exactly where is this area that you were talking about?
So I'm talking about the north coast.
Okay.
When
Tofino, around Tofino, or?
No, when Kitimat is the port where the proposed Northern Gateway pipeline is going to be loading all of this tar sands through to tankers.
So the Queen Charlotte Islands area.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you would like to say as we close this interview?
I would just like to say that it gives me such joy and such hope to be able to come here today and have people from all nations and wonderful speakers. The speech Naomi Klein gave today was absolutely brilliant.
Is she here today?
She was here, yes, talking about the threat to the future. These people, we're here, if anyone were to think we're here because we want to keep Vancouver beautiful, that's such a small piece of it. We're concerned at a very big level. And all of these people who are strangers have this in common. And we're trying to find ways, letter writing, communicating with others, to get the message out that what is proposed is not okay. It is cataclysmically stupid and reckless. And they're gambling with the Earth's future.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time. And,
Thank you.
Did you get this flyer?
I did.
Okay, and you'll find this interview at ThrivingLive1.tv on September 5th.
Than't you very much.
Thank you very
It's
much.
been a great
Hold on, Terry. Can you take a picture of this beautiful palm tree over here, please, that I've been asking you for?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to protect.
This is beautiful Vancouver over here. We've got palm trees here. Can you see the palm tree?
Yeah.
And come and visit Vancouver anytime. Okay, we got another interview. Yes, hello. Hi, how are you? I definitely would like you to talk about this picture, and your name is?
My name is Paul Glumas,
okay.
And I'm an activist with the LaRouche movement here in Canada. It is the Committee for the Republic of Canada. And this picture is a direct attack on the idea that there are limits to growth and that the world is overpopulated.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, human population grows with discoveries of science and technology and the development of the infrastructure around that science and technology. Human population grows as an expression of the increase of power over nature, which is best expressed in developing what's called energy flux density technologies. When you go from burning wood to burning coal to burning oil to nuclear power to fusion, you also dramatically change your population potential and also the scope of your economy. You can go into space and you change your scope of your science, your technology, and you change your population characteristics. The only reason people have a lot of children is if they're in agricultural situations. But in an industrial situation and in a much more advanced situation than that, people will tend to have less children. It's not a question of too many children. It's a question of lack of development. But we have an oligarchy that runs this world that is terrified that the poorest people of the planet will become educated, that the poorest people of the planet will become skilled, that the poorest people of the planet will apply those skills to increasing the productive power, and therefore they will also increase their cognitive capabilities. They won't be so stupid, they won't be so backward, they won't be so willing to be subservient. And that is the reason that they launched the Green Movement, starting with the World Wildlife Fund, to convince people that human beings are evil, that they're destroying the planet, that we have to cut back. You can't have nuclear, you can't have science, you can't have technology.
Well, that's very interesting. We're going to get back to that.
Okay.
Can you explain this? I know this is a little bit about this. Robbie told me a little bit about this.
Okay.
Go ahead. We're still warming.
Okay, this is about something called Glass-Steagall. Glass was a congressman or senator, and Stegall was another congressman and senator in 1933, who passed Franklin Delano Roosevelt's regulations on the banks that separated the banks. And it created a situation where commercial banks could not be involved in speculation or investments or anything like that. And that separation protected the community of depositors from having their funds used to speculate with. And they were restricted in terms of the kind of loans that they would have to make. So that those loans were for specific economic activity. Now, there's a huge battle going on in the United States, and there's other battles going on in European nations to deal with the financial crisis by reestablishing these kind of separation. And that's the fight. In the U.S., there's 80 U.S. congressmen supporting the bill to do this. In other countries, you have other situations.
And you're opposed to this?
We're in favor of this. We are the people. The LaRouche movement is at the center of the mobilization to implement Glass-Steagall. Now, once you implement Glass-Steagall, you're going to need credit to rebuild the economy, to get people back to work.
What exactly is Glass-Steagall? How will they start this?
Okay, what happens is Bank of America or Citibank or Morgan Chase, they get split up. Every commercial part where people put deposits gets broken off and separated out. And they cannot have any connection to the investment part. And that means we don't bail out the investment part. The investment part goes under. The hundreds of trillions of dollars of debt get wiped out. But we protect the commercial part because that's where the actual economic activity is going on.
Well, how long have you been a member of the LaRouche?
38 years. I've been involved for 38 years.
You started in Boston,
and no, New York City.
Is there a certain court case coming up that your organization is interested in? A certain court case?
Not now, no.
How about an event? Is there a certain event coming up?
Well, there's one in Germany.
Yeah, and where and what?
It's the Constitutional Court's ruling on the agreement to surrender European sovereignty to the European Stabilization Mechanism.
What day is this supposed to happen?
September 12th.
It's in Germany?
Yes, the Constitutional Court. If the Constitutional Court rules that it's unconstitutional to do this, then the euro is finished.
Okay. So, now, you seem to be very politically active with this organization.
Yes.
And definitely agree with what's going on here. Now, if you could change the world, or this organization could do something worthwhile, how would you do it? How would you do it?
At this point, the most important thing that has to be done is for Obama to step down. And for Glass-Steagall to be implemented. And from there, nations have to take the financial system and they have to reorganize the banks. And then we have to go to a positive economic development perspective. Otherwise, eventually you'll have hyperinflation, eventually you'll have a financial collapse, and you'll probably have war coming out of it.
Well, what do you think about the bondholders and the World Bank?
Well, the whole system involving the World Bank and the IMF is finished.
Well, they're still calling interest on about 100 countries.
Right.
They're taking in $1.5 billion a year on interest.
Right, but that's not their fundamental function right now. The IMF and the World Bank's function is right now to promote the bailouts.
Yes, but also, what do you think about the Standard and Poor, this organization?
These are criminal organizations that are falsifying the ratings and also terrorizing countries. If they don't surrender to the banks, they'll get a lower rating.
Well, isn't this how economy goes? Like the bondholders they're involved in everything. Same with the market. They have shares with the World Bank. They have shares with the IMF. They have shares with the bankers. They have shares with this. Like there are people running these offices.
Right, but the main center of it is the derivative speculation, where people put their money into a fund and the fund speculates with it. And if they don't maintain a certain rate of return, the whole system collapses. So, but all of that is going to be wiped out, and the bondholders will have to take their losses.
Well, I agree with that, because the bondholders, the tenants, the World Bank, and the IMF, they're just collecting the interest year after year after year, and they're getting richer. They don't want that to stop.
But they're not using the funds in a productive way.
Of course not.
So that's the whole problem.
Of course not.
So we have a huge financial albatross around our neck that cannot continue. You cannot continue to bail it out and impose austerity on the population.
Well, how about unemployment in the U.S.?
The unemployment figures have been falsified in the U.S. They're claiming.
I agree.
They're claiming that unemployment has declined, but no. The number of people that no longer are working is increased dramatically, and they have falsified the figures. Part of the falsification is that they only count the people that claim are looking for work.
Now, sir, on behalf of the Roots organization and yourself as an individual, is there any closing comments you really would like to say?
All right. Things look very bleak, but we're coming very close to a point of decision in which we're going to either have to make some fundamental changes or we're not going to have much of a human race.
Well, I agree with that. Thank you very much for your time. And you're going to see this interview on September 5th and 6th. Also, I started the internet TV station to give organizations free airtime. And my phone number is in the pamphlet.
I got it.
And I can give you guys your organization airtime once a month, and you can give us updates.
Okay. All right. And we'll be in touch.
Okay, for sure. And Robbie knows how to get. I know how to get a hold of Robbie.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And your name again is
Michel Emond.
Michel Emond?
From DrivingLight1.ca.
Okay.
And Terry part of it.
3 days ago they released a report about the 5 major Canadian banks. They said that they had made a huge amount of money. Did you read that?
I heard a little bit about it.
$7.8 billion, the 5 largest banks in Canada. What's your opinion on that? In fact, some of them were increases of 43% and more over profits.
Well, I don't really know how they were, how that worked. I don't really know in what capacity did they make it. Did they make it in speculation? Did they make it? What part of the banks made the funds?
So even in the downturn of the economy, our banks seem to have prospered quite well.
But it's on paper. It's not real. It's profits on paper.
And how about the IMF in Europe going around asking countries for money so that they could lend it to other countries? You've heard about that?
Yes, but mainly they don't ask it anymore to lend it to countries. They ask it to lend it to banks. Banks have become more sovereign than countries.
They keep talking about the unemployment rates, and they always say seasonally adjusted, which nobody really is ever defined.
No, it is. The unemployment rate in the U.S. is doctored.
Yeah.
It's in the 20% range.
And they even sometimes will admit, they say these statistics are only for people that we are actively looking for work.
Right.
Who knows how many people are at home kicking their feet up, not looking for work.
Go ahead. Is there anything else? Sure. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, that's fine.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Did you want to comment about the poster?
I just did.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
Thanks a lot.
All right, okay.
Hi, Michael. This is Michael from the Pipe Up organization. Pipe Up Network. Where is this organization?
Well, we formed in Abbotsford and spread out in every direction, up and down the pipeline, as people began to be familiar with the fact that the Kinder Morgan company that owns this pipeline that crosses southwestern B.C. is already now shipping tar sands bitumen. No hearings, no approvals.
So what does this mean exactly?
Well, bitumen is the tarry substance that they mine in the Alberta tar sands, and they have to dilute it with various volatile compounds to get it to flow through a pipeline. And so the combination is very, very risky and unpleasant, dangerous for communities, for people and the environment.
Now, do you guys have a website? Do you have documents or this kind of information?
We have a website. It's www.pipeup/up.net.
Excellent. And who's the founder of this organization?
It's a grassroots organization of residents of southwestern BC. We have no leaders. We all take turns. We all do what we can.
Do you have like a monthly or special event coming up?
We've been having a series of town hall meetings. We've done two, one in Chilliwack, one in Abbotsford. We're planning to do more town hall meetings, probably Surrey, Langley, possibly Burnaby, Hope, all up and down all throughout the Lower Mainland.
And is there a certain court case coming up that you're aware of?
We're considering legal
Yes, against you. That would be very interesting.
against Kinder Morgan.
Oh yeah, that's very interesting. Definitely ThrivingLive1.tv would like to cover that story because this is what we do. We focus on court cases and events. And definitely we offer organizations. Did you get this?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is that pipe-up.net? Or is that hyphen?
The name is Pipe Up, and the website is pipe-up.
Yeah, for the
.net.
URL, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what can we do about this?
I think everybody has to pipe up, and so however you do that, speak to friends who aren't already aware that the fact that they're shipping tar sands bitumen through the pipeline to the end of this inlet on tankers across to China, through pipelines down to the U.S. We need to raise awareness of this. We need to speak up about it, whether we agree or disagree with it. I'm hearing a lot of people do not like this. They would like to put an end to it. And so what can we do? Write letters. We can write to the media, to the editor, to politicians, talk to politicians, get more information, organize meetings, and keep on.
This is why I started an internet TV station, because this is why I come to demonstrations like this, because everybody has something to say that I didn't hear before. Needs to be said. Well, thank you very much for your time. And on September 5th and 6th, I'm sure that this organization is going to be a bit more popular than it was today.
I'm just curious, were you're a fairly long-time resident of Abbotsford?
I live in Yarrow, which is in between Abbotsford and Chilliwack.
Were you aware at the time of a few years ago when they were trying to do underground storage of natural gas just on the other side of the border at Sumas?
The SE2
CO2 storage facilities.
I wasn't aware of that.
Oh,
but I thought you were referring to the gas-fired
hot houses
energy plant.
The building of a electricity production through natural gas, burning natural gas.
Yes, SE2.
Yeah, and they were worried that the valley would really clog up with CO2 fumes, right? Yeah, but I think they were also going to have a storage facility, possibly an underground storage facility.
That sounds quite feasible.
Okay.
Is there anything you would like to say on behalf of the organization?
I would say if you're concerned about the shipment of tar sands bitumen into this part of the world, speak up about it. Join us. Contact us. Information on our website, pipeup.net.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm sure they will, especially with that cookie.
Okay.
Yes, hello, this is Elena from the Wild Salmon First Coalition.
Wild Salmon First, yes.
This is your campaign?
This is the campaign I'm currently working on. As you'll see, the premise of Wild Salmon First is that wild salmon need to be a priority above a lot of the industrial activities that are destroying wild salmon stocks. So one of the major threats right now to our wild salmon in BC are these fish farms. Yes, so 92% of these farms are owned by Norwegian companies. And yes, operating in BC waters. So Norway already has over 1,000 farms in their own waters. They have almost no wild salmon left. And so now here in Fraser River we have one of the world's most well-known wild salmon lakes. And so now we have, you put the farms right in the middle there.
Now, who's putting these farms in? The name of certain companies, and why is the government letting them?
It's business.
Yes, of course.
It's seafloor is leased out by the premier. At any given time, right, she could choose to stop leasing the seafloor to these companies.
Can you explain that? The seafloor? I don't know what it is.
So this is where they look at the ocean floor as property is, and they would lease it out to companies that want to do business here.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So she's the one that gives the okay for them to operate here.
The name of this person is?
Premier Christy Clark.
Okay, we'll have to definitely talk to her about that.
Yes, let her know.
So now is there a special event coming up, and do you have a website, or is there court case that you're following?
Well, right now we're waiting, of course, for the Cohen Commission.
What is that? The
Cohen Commission is an inquiry that was launched after the 2009 collapse. It's an inquiry into the decline of the Fraser River sockeye salmon. So this September, actually, mark the calendar, September 30th, Justice Bruce Cohen is expected to release his findings and make his reports. And part of that commission was aquaculture, as well as they reopened the commission for 3 days to look at the infectious salmon anemia findings. Dr. Alexander Morton has been testing these salmon, and they've been testing positive.
Do you know this person, this doctor? Do you know this doctor?
Yes, Dr. Alexander Morton. She's one of the leading scientists who's been researching the effects first of sea lice on the wild salmon. And now she's spending all of her time actually sampling the salmon up in the Fraser River in the coast to test them for these European strain viruses.
No, are you and your organization following this stuff?
What I'm doing with this is taking this to Norway. So
let's have a look at this too.
What we have here is this is the declaration. And this flag has traveled up and down the Fraser River watershed and out to the coast. You see, a lot of people are really angry about what these farms are doing to their wild salmon.
Because, they will be depleted, and also they'll be non-existent.
Exactly, and so much depends on them. So what we found is that a lot of people in Norway have no idea what the Fraser River is. They have no idea how their business is impacting the wildlife here and First Nations communities. So we're trying to take this to Norway to let them know that we don't want their business.
Everyone wants to know about the organization yourself, why you started this, why they should pay attention to what you have to say.
Salmon. Well, for me, I grew up on the Fraser River, and you see the salmon are connected to everything. They really are an iconic species. They are the backbone of this coast. So by fighting to protect salmon, you're not just protecting salmon. You're protecting the eagles, the bears, the First Nations culture. You're protecting over 127 species which depend on wild salmon.
You mentioned somewhere there was no more salmon existing there.
It's the wild salmon in Norway.
No, so they depleted their own salmon, now they're over here, probably they're doing this.
Yes, Norway, these companies, Marine Harvest, Rig, and Cermaq, have farms in Chile, in Scotland, in Ireland, the Faroe Islands, in their own backyard, and in BC. And it's actually their goal to be the #1 supplier of seafood. So that does not mesh well for wild salmon survival.
Yeah, I know this has been going on for a while. I have quite a few native friends of mine talking about this, all the way up to Kinkamunet.
Right.
I know they do that up there too. But this is why we started Internet TV station, and we offer organizations free if you have a lot of need exposure, and back up every organization that can do anything they say.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the big thing will, when we present this to Norway, and
When will this be?
this will be probably next month.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, we're trying to find the right date. We're actually trying to raise funds to fly out Chief Bob Chamberlain, who's here. The farms are in his territory. He's actually issued a lawsuit against the Canadian government because of the impact of those farms in his territory.
This person?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, you know, we get to tell your contacts that TriVLI1.ca is available at any time. We are mobile and we cover court cases and we want to expose every organization that we're doing a good job at that.
That's great.
This is definitely one of my goals. Like this because somebody cares about you. Well, thank you very much for your time, Melanie.
Thank you so much for what you're doing.
I'm a little confused. Are you saying that fish farms actually lead to a decline of the natural salmon runs?
Yes. The reason why that is because they've really stupidly placed those farms on the migratory routes of the wild salmon.
And it confuses the fish?
What it does is, so these fish, you see this picture here? This is a baby salmon smolt.
Uh-huh.
Right here?
Uh-huh.
Those are sea lice.
Ah, okay.
So, well, sea lice.
Parasites.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is one thing. So they say that sea lice naturally occur in the wild, which they do, but we have these baby salmon smolts that are swimming. They migrate out from up the Fraser River, and they swim by these farms when they're this big. And you see the comparison. So when something that small picks up a load of parasites, they cannot survive.
In other words, the salmon that are migrating back and forth travel through an infested zone,
Yes.
like a zone of contagion.
Exactly.
Plague.
If you look at that cartoon behind you there,
So we're going to bring it over here.
yeah, you can untape it if you. So this is just a real simple cartoon example of what happens. The salmon swim by, wild salmon swim by the farms, and it's either parasites or it's diseases.
Right.
They've got nowhere else to swim by. This is their wild salmon migratory route.
It's amazing to believe that there are so many salmon farms set up at the moment that this would be a problem. On our coastline is 800 miles at least.
The reason why they place in these areas is because they utilize the currents to clean out the crap from the farm.
To flush out the sewage.
So free sewage treatment, this is the one industry that does not have to clean up its own crap. It just lets the ocean carry it away.
And definitely something is going to be done about that for sure.
Yes. They know, DFO knows as well that placing these farms on the migratory paths is a mistake.
Right.
It's something they cater to the industry rather than the well-being of the wild salmon.
But one thing for sure is that our TV station will cover any kind of thing that you want to talk about. You can give us a call and we'll do it there. If you have an update, court case, we'll be there and we're going to help you. Sure.
Well, I'll get your contact, and I'm going to be out of the country next week.
That would be great. Maybe to send us some emails from over there, see what's going on, and maybe send us a video. What we do is we have something called a Dropbox. Yeah, so you can keep this, and if you can send us information to our Dropbox, we can sort of live this thing out and follow 24 hours. But this is our email address, and this is our phone number.
Yeah, well, I'll have to update you if I get word of. Well, first of all, there's the Cone Commission, September 20th.
Yeah, definitely have to remember that.
That's going to make news.
And where's this going to be, Victoria or Vancouver?
It's here. The entire Cone Commission was held in downtown Vancouver.
Exactly what building?
On the corner of Georgia and. You should know I spent 10 months
Georgia
there.
and Hamilton or
Nope.
Georgia and
Georgia and
How?
No, Georgia, which is, it wasn't the Supreme Court. It was. Wow, I can't believe it. I remember. I literally spent 10 months there.
Okay. Thurlow, Burrard.
Across from the SkyTrain.
Across from the SkyTrain. Seymour or Richard?
Oh, that's Beatty. Beatty? No. Hamilton?
Seymour, Richard?
Is that Granville?
Granville.
Georgia and Granville.
Georgia and Granville. There's an office there?
There's a big building there.
And that's where this September 20th is going to be taking place?
That's where the Cone Commission was held.
Are you going to be there?
No.
Okay, well, you know blog? Is there anybody that can send me some information?
What it will be is it will be an online. If you watch the news, I guarantee you right now there's so many lawyers who are waiting. There's numerous participants in this commission.
If you can send me an email, if you can go to cover.
Can you say your URL?
You know what else I'm going to do? You're going to take one of these, yeah? Yeah. I'm going to send you right down. Just look up. Okay, so the website Wild Salmon First was based on the need to understand all the various threats to wild salmon. Government right now is one of the #1 threats in the decisions that it's making. So wildsalmonfirst.org goes through the various threats that wild salmon are facing and links to different groups that are doing something about it.
And you mentioned there's a lot of lawyers that are waiting for this
That's
event.
the Clone Commission.
Yeah, what are these lawyers are waiting for? An answer?
The lawyers,
solution?
In the past year, Justice Bruce Cohen they've been introducing every possible influence on the decline of Fraser River sockeye salmon. So, I mean, you're talking about, they talk about everything from global warming to overfishing to mining effluents. So, Justice Cohen's had this time, all this evidence has been presented to him. There's numerous lawyers representing different groups who have an interest, obviously, in the wild salmon. So, on September 30th, he has to take all of that evidence and then make his final recommendations to Stephen Harper as to what needs to be done to protect the wild salmon. So that's September 30th. A lot of people are waiting to hear about it.
And then it could take 1, 2, 3 more years for someone to act?
Maybe not.
Well, from the decisions that Stephen Harper's been making already, it doesn't seem like he's going to listen to whatever Justice Bruce Cohen recommends anyways. And that's where we're really needing more people to get involved to do the work that Stephen Harper is not. Counteract what Stephen Harper is doing.
Thank you very much, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Good luck in Europe.
Cheers. Thanks.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Stainless Sea Festival. How are you?
Good.
That's excellent. What are you doing here today? You're having fun on the slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. How old are you?
7.
Yeah. Is that your mom? Yeah, I know your mom. For a long, long time. Yeah. Move your body a little bit. So I hear you know how to play drums. And what else do you? Vous parlez français? Oui. Oui. C'est quoi votre nom?
We played a little bit last week out on the Sawali.
Oui, c'est vrai.
I know it's been out to Sawali.
Eva, is there something you want to say to the world about peace on earth or anything like that?
11:30, 12 o'clock rolls around.
What is?
12:30 rolls around.
The earth is beautiful, eh? I think so.
We figured it out.
For sure.
We're on the res.
And is that your friend over there? You guys having fun today? You looking forward to go back to school?
Yes.
That's good. What do you want to be when you grow up?
An interior designer and
philanthropist. That's excellent. Remember me. That's excellent. That's a really good hobby. That one there.
I need lots of money, so I'm going to be an interior designer.
Ah, that's a good idea for sure. That sounds good. Are you enjoying the music today? What's your favorite music? Hip hop. You gotta come to Vancouver at the Art Gallery September 15th and 16th. Your mom will take you there. We're going to cover a big hip hop for peace. September 15th. You should be there. Definitely. We'll introduce you to the band members.
Sunny out. The end of summer.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and say bye to everybody. Wave.